Good evening and welcome to another episode of Cooking with Michael. First, as always, I want to thank you all. Those of you who watched last week's episode, our trip to Nashville was fantastic. It was a great date night getaway for us. Lasted about 4 days for us, so it was fantastic. I hope you got a chance to watch the video. I realized we didn't make any food last week, but we did show you a couple of really cool southern dishes. Beer can chicken and, of course, grits. Grit's always a great southern dish. And so now you know what a grit is, and we had a lot of fun making it. So hope you enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun to make, and it was a great trip. So my wife and I had a fantastic time. But here we are. We're back in Maryland, and we are ready to move forward with another great video on things to make. Tonight, again, nothing different. A great dinner. Not a lot of time. There really is no name to it. Actually, we're going to be marinating a steak in a skillet, but we're actually going to be making a sauce that goes on top of it. It's sort of like an au jus sauce, which if you've ever eaten prime rib, and it's that thin, watery sauce that comes from the prime rib they pour over top of it. This is a little bit thicker. It's made with wine and scallions and oil and chicken broth. It does make a nice, great topping to the skillet seared steak. So we'll show you how to do that. We'll make it quick, make it easy. So of course, as always, we can get right to the date night where you can spend time with your loved one, your significant other, your spouse, whoever you're spending your date night with. So again, thank you all for watching, and let's get this party started. Okay, and you can see the ingredients we're going to be using tonight. We're going to be using strip steaks, butter, a gigantic sweet potato, russet potato. We've got the Pinot Grigio, of course, red wine, Cabernet Sauvignon, oil, salt, pepper, chicken broth, and, of course, scallions or shallots, depending on which one they have. Kind of interchangeable. So real easy, real quick, and we'll show you how to put it all together. All right. So now we're ready to start cooking. First thing we're going to do is we're going to make the sauce that goes over top of the steak. Reason being is the steak only takes a few minutes each side. The sauce does take a little longer. Before we do that, of course, because today we are back with our Pinot Grigio. That's right. We've got our Pinot Grigio here. Thank you, Andrew, from Chapel Beer and Wine, who always makes sure we have the Pinot Grigio. And we're back to our Pinot Grigio here in Maryland. Although I will have to say the Pinot Grigio in Nashville was a local vineyard, by the way, to Nashville, and it was fantastic. Unfortunately, I can't give you the name, but it was amazing. Look it up on Google. I'm sure you'll find it. But it was great. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to take my sip of my Pinot Grigio. I'm going to take a couple sips of my Pinot Grigio. All right. And I was off today, so I was been drinking Pinot Grigio as I've been preparing for today's video, so bear with me. But anyway, so we're going to go ahead and get started. First thing you want to do before we do the sauce, and take those New York strip steaks. They're about a half-inch thick, so they're not real thick. You want to coat the top of it with the salt and pepper, and then you want to stick it in the fridge for about, typically you want to do it for about 8 hours. I did it for about 3 hours today, which is fine because you want that salt and pepper taste to kind of saturate the steak a little bit. As always, I went to see my butcher and got some really nice, beautiful steaks, as you saw in just a minute ago when I showed you all the ingredients you're making, or using. So that's already done. I also have my oven on already to a medium high, and I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to pour oil in there. We're going to be using typically, if you've watched our videos, thank you. We use olive oil. We're going to be using a canola oil today. The reason being is we want a flash point a little bit different than the olive oil because we're going to be using more and more of the oil as we cook. So we're using canola oil that we got at, yes, we're back. We got it at Aldi. Aldi wasn't closed. Actually, we've had this for a while, but Aldi wasn't closed today. I did get some stuff at Aldi today, so we're back to Aldi. So anyway, let's go ahead and show you what we're doing here. All right, so you got the pot right here. We're going to go ahead and we're just going to, I've already turned it on to medium high to get it started. I'm going to go ahead and just pour the oil in. I'm going to pour enough of it in there to begin to cook the shallots. What we did is, of course, we took the shallots that you saw, and just real quick, we chopped them up finely, okay? So you want a small bowl of those. This is what they look like when they're all chopped up finely, okay? Because you're going to cook these until they're nice and soft before you put the wine in, okay? So we're going to let this sit and just go from there. You can see, actually, it is doing pretty well already because the pan was actually hot because I turned it on about a minute or so beforehand. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just go ahead, and you can hear it sizzle, which is always good. Put that in the sink, and I'm going to stir these. And we talk about this all the time. Don't walk away because you don't want them to burn. But you're going to cook these. It'll take about 5 to 7 minutes. You're going to cook until they are nice and soft and a little bit brown. If you do that, that's when you're going to add the white wine. And you're going to add red wine. Maybe I had a little bit too much Pinot Grigio. Anyway, you're going to put a cup of red wine in here. So what we're going to do is we're going to let that cook here. We're going to measure out our wine, and we'll show you what happens next. Just real quick while that's cooking, we are going to use a nice Cabernet Sauvignon. It's a good red wine, a little bit of flavor, semi-dry, nice flavor for the to add in here. Okay, you're going to cook most of it away. The alcohol, of course, is going to cook away, and you're really going for that taste. So if you have a red wine that you like better than a Cab Sav, you can use that because really now it's about the taste. And again, this is where we go with the know your audience. A different wine is going to add a different taste. So pick the red wine you like the most. We like red Cabernet Sauvignon, and that's what we're going to use. And of course, we got this at Andrew's also. Okay, so what we're doing, we're just finishing up the cooking. Like I said, it doesn't take very long, 5 to 7 minutes cooking the scallions. You can use shallots. They're basically the same type of thing. They're just little baby onion kind of stuff. So you want that to taste for the sauce. So you're going to cook these until they are nice and soft, and a little bit brown, which you're getting there. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take a cup of your red wine. Just 1 cup of red wine. And again, as I said, we're using a Cabernet Sauvignon. If you have a red wine that you like better, that's fine because really this is what's going to add to the taste of the sauce. So we're going to pour this in. All right. And we're going to let this cook. This will take about 5 minutes also. You want to try and get to where the red wine is almost cooked out. I know it sounds kind of weird, but really all you're doing is you're getting that flavor going. So you want to make sure that the wine is boiling and cook it. Keep stirring it so the scallions do not stick to the bottom of the skillet. And you cook it until it gets a little bit thick and cooks mostly away. When you do that, then you'll put in about 1.5 cups of chicken broth. And just real quick, I'm going to show you chicken broth. I just use the box chicken broth. You can use cans, what have you. But we're going to use about 1.5 cups of this. And then we're going to put that in there and let that cook and thicken. And I'll show you that here in just a moment. So we're going to keep stirring this. And, if you've watched Finding Nemo, you can do, just keep stirring, just keep stirring, just keep stirring.
Just keep swimming, just keep swimming, just keep swimming, swimming, swimming. What do? We swim.
It's not really what she says, but hey, after half a bottle of Pinot Grigio, that's what she said. So we're going to take 1.5 cups of chicken broth, and we're just going to pour that right in there. Okay? Now, this will take the longest, actually. You're going to cook this. After it boils, you're going to... Hi, how you doing? So after you put the chicken broth in, you're going to, throughout the cooking part, you're going to add a little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper. Again, it comes back to knowing your audience, but you do want to flavor it. So we'll, throughout the cooking, we're just going to take our sea salt grinder and our peppermill grinder that we got at Aldi. Okay. We'll put a little bit in there while it's boiling and simmering. So you want to bring it to a boil. And then when it's boiled, then you want to bring it down, obviously, to a simmer. Let it simmer for about 20 minutes. You want it to be about half of what it is when you put it in there. Because you're only going to have about half remaining. It's going to get a little bit thick, which is what you want. And then you're going to strain it. And we'll show you that in a second. So what we're going to do is we're going to stop here. And I'm going to just keep doing this and get this, keep on stirring, keep on stirring. Yeah, I know, it's Finding Nemo. I've got kids, what do you want? So anyway, this is what we're going to do. We're going to let this cook and simmer and thicken, and then we'll show you the next steps. So we'll be back, and we'll show you what it's like when it's getting close to being done. All right. It has been cooking for just about 20 minutes. Not quite, but close to 20 minutes. Let me show you what it looks like. You can see it is thickening, which is good. I mean, if you move it around, it does seem thin, but that's okay. It's a little bit thicker than it was. So while I'm doing that, I have added once or twice throughout the cooking process here. I'm going to do it for a third time. I'm going to take a little bit of the sea salt grinder. Not a lot, just a couple of twists. Okay? This one is definitely one that, when I say know your audience, you're going to add more seasoning than we typically add. So just be careful if you have someone on a low sodium diet. This will have a little bit more sodium than what we normally do. But anyway, while it's there, next thing we're going to do is we're going to take our strainer. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to take the strainer, take this, and we're going to pour this into the strainer, into the bowl below. What you're trying to do really is now strain out the shallots because we don't actually want them in the sauce. They're there for the taste, but we don't want the pieces in there. And there we go. So put this back on there. We let it sit there. Now you can see it's strained. Okay. We're going to take this, put this in the sink for right now. And this is what our sauce looks like. Now, interestingly, I'm going to take it back in. Put it back in there, okay, without the pieces of shallots or scallions. I think we've used that word about interchangeably about 15 times already during this video. But anyway, we're going to bring this back to a boil for about 3 to 4 minutes, and then we're going to pour it back in the bowl. Then we're going to let it sit for just a second, and then we're going to add butter and make the sauce, and then we'll do the steaks. So I'm going to show you what that looks like in just a second here. While that's boiling. And while it's boiling, you don't really have to stir it at this point. Just let it come back to a boil and simmer, like I said, for about 3 or 4 minutes. And of course, this is a great time to drink a little bit more Pinot Grigio. You can't ever have enough of this stuff. I'm sorry, but you can't. Anyway, so that's the boiling here. We're going to get ready to put it in the bowl. And at this point, you want to get basically 2 tablespoons of butter. Just stick butter. Do not melt it. Okay, you want to put it in just like this. Okay, because it's going to melt when you move it into the bowl, and that's actually going to help it get a nice buttery feel to it. So don't melt this. Let it melt when you put it in there. Okay. All right, you can see what it looks like. Again, it's a nice little sauce there. Okay, we're going to take this and we're going to turn off the oven so we don't set the house on fire or melt our wonderful bowl. But anyway, we're going to pour the sauce right in there, okay? And we're going to put this aside. We're going to reuse that in just a second. But what we're going to do is we're going to take the butter, okay? And we're going to put our 2 teaspoons of butter in there. 2 tablespoons of butter. I'll get that right, I swear. Again, maybe it is the Pinot Grigio, but, while we're doing that, let me have another drink. All right, and we're going to just stir this around, okay? 2 tablespoons of butter will go in nicely with this sauce. It'll melt. You can kind of use a whisk here, and so what I do is I literally just push the butter down into the sauce and kind of move it around until it melts, okay? But you're going to basically whisk this up because you want a nice little bit of buttery flavor to the sauce as well, okay? So we'll just stir this up. All right. So as you can see, as we keep stirring, the butter is now just about gone. And that's really what it looks like. You know, it is thin, but it's a little bit different consistency than from when you first started. And then you're gonna put this aside and let it sit. All right, and as I said, we're just gonna wipe it out, and we're gonna put this back onto a medium high, and we're gonna use a little bit more of our canola oil, and we're going to put this in, and we're going to. That's how we're going to sear the steak. So we're gonna put this in here, and we're gonna do one steak at a time, primarily because I do not have a big enough skillet to do. Well, I probably could do two actually, but I'll do one for now, and I'll do the other one here in a second, just so you can see what it looks like. But we're gonna let that go until the oil gets nice and thin, and it starts to bubble a little bit. And at that point, we'll put the steaks in. All right, while we're doing that, we're gonna do a side of potatoes. This one's real easy. I'm not really gonna show you a whole lot to do with it. My wife likes sweet potatoes, and of course, the butcher where I go to. This is actually a small one, but they do have what I like to call 3 Mile Island sweet potatoes. I liked regular old russet baking potatoes. You can see the difference in size. Yeah, see the difference in size. These are huge. These not so much. Anyway, I'm going to be very lazy when I do this. I'm going to stick this sucker in the microwave, and I'm going to cook it in the microwave. Okay. It takes about 2 or 3 cycles of potato cooking in the microwave setting. I do not stick holes in it. I remember, if you remember, your mom may have told you when you were growing up, if you do have potatoes in the oven, jab it with forks to get some holes in it. I don't do that. I found out it does not explode. It actually helps it cook a little bit faster if you don't have it steaming out. So I'm not going to do that. It's already been washed. I'm going to take this. I'm just going to stick it in the microwave and let it cook. I'm not really going to show you what it looks like after it's done because it's a freaking potato, and we all know what they look like when they're done. So it's just a good side to go with the steaks. Meat and potatoes, just a good side. So I'm going to go ahead and do this, and then I'll come back, put the meat in, and we'll show you what it's all like. All right, so that's in there. The oil's ready. So I'm going to take my steaks, and there we go. There, my steak. I'm going to take just one steak here, okay? And when you put this in here, you're going to do it for about 3 minutes on each side. It's bigger than I thought, so it's a good thing I didn't do both at the same time. So you can do it for about 3 minutes on each side, and then flip it over, do it the other way. You turn this down some to about medium. You do not want to do the salt and pepper side first. You want to do that last, and that will kind of bring the flavor all together. So we'll let that do for 3 minutes. We'll flip it over and then show you what it's like. All right, so it's been just under 3 minutes. It's a little bit thinner steak, so we're going to do it slow. And we're going to take it. We're going to flip it over, and that's what it looks like when it's done on the one side. We'll do this side because it's a little bit thinner, we'll do this side for about 1.5 minutes or so just to get a nice seared on the bottom, and then it's pretty much done. So we'll show you what it's like in just a second. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take the steak out. Okay, you can see what it looks like on the other side. And I'm going to put it right on the cutting board. You're probably wondering, why does he have a cutting board? No, I'm going to show you in a second. So I'm going to take the cutting board, and what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to just slice this into, and you can see right in the middle, it's a medium to medium. It's about a medium, which is what you're looking for. So we're going to cut it a little bit on an angle because you want it to be pieces. You don't want to have to. You'll still be cutting on the plate because, of course, these are ginormous pieces. But you can see as it gets towards the to the center, it's a little bit pinker, which is good. Because you really want a medium to medium rare. If you really, if you got off the couch, if you really want to go a little bit longer and you wanted to have a well done steak, you can do that. I just don't like the taste of well done steaks. So this right here is fat. We're gonna move that aside there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my plate. The potato is still cooking, but that's okay because she likes the sweet potatoes, not me. My potato will take just a moment. Hers is 17 pounds, so it'll take a little longer. So anyway, so we're going to just put this onto the plate. Okay. So you got slice there. And then I'm going to reach over to my sauce. Okay, my sauce there. And actually, when I do this, sometimes I realize I don't have enough room. Maybe I should move. We've been talking about that. Anyway, so I'm going to take some of the sauce. And I'm just going to put the sauce... Let me take the whisk out of there. I'm just going to take the sauce, and I'm just going to spoon some over top of it. And actually, it's really good on the potatoes, too. But anyway, so we're going to spoon it over top. Okay? I'm going to... You can see how it's looked there. I'll cut a piece off. And... Hey there. All right. I cut the piece off. Take my plate, take my food, and... And it's perfect. Absolutely perfect. Again, you did a little bit less salt, a little more pepper, a little less pepper, what have you. But really, what we did is fantastic. Nice sauce over top of the steak. A little bit of onion flavor, a little bit of the wine flavor. It's just amazing. And it goes very, very well with Pinot Grigio. I probably have had way too much of this tonight, so... Anyway, potatoes are almost done. Put the potato on there, and then we'll have our date night. So, and there it is. And you can put any toppings on the potato you want. I typically just like salt, a little bit of butter, and some bacon, because bacon goes with everything. So, anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you'll make it. I hope you'll let me know how it goes. As always, if you know anybody who would enjoy the videos, send it to them, because the more likes, the more shares, the more comments, the more views, the more we show up in people's feeds, and the more we can keep doing the thing we love. We have added some clips to TikTok, so we're going to be doing some other social medias as well. We've gotten some people from TikTok watching our videos. I also want to give a quick shout out to the folks who that I met in Nashville who are actually subscribing and watching the videos too. Thank you so much. We had a blast hanging out with you guys. You guys are fantastic. So thank you for showing us the town. Thank you for showing us Gerst Beer. Thank you for pointing us in the right direction, too, where we can find the great beer can chicken. So anyway, try this food. Hope you enjoy it. And again, as always, please, please, please like, subscribe if you haven't. If you have, comment, like the video, whatnot, share. Let's let this thing go viral. So we'll be adding more social media. We'll be adding more pages and things like that. We're talking about adding a full web page. So we're getting there. So this is great. We're having a great time doing it. Loving every minute of it. So again, thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoy the dinner. I know we will. I hope you have a great date night with your significant other, with your loved one, your spouse. And as always, 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 we'll see you again next week, every Saturday at 8 p.m. on Cooking with Michael. Have a great night, everyone. Thanks for watching. Good night.